Austroraptor. A fast, watchable, semi-aquatic creature. So let's not waste time with introductions and let's go straight to the first subject. He had barely hatched before he was off to get up to all sorts of hatchery mischief. The most natural thing for him was to go to the sanctuary and try to catch something there. Ideally something that's not his own kind. However, the Austroraptor species was currently overpopulated. And our subject had a hunch that cannibalism might occur, so he acted carefully. But then, on his way out of this terrible place, he probably angered this little cub with his brisk running. And the cub was probably so hungry that it was willing to become that cannibal. A fight between younglings of the same species, with our subject having a significant size advantage. We will see how it goes. It may seem a bit like a courtship dance, but believe me, these Austroraptors really do have sharp claws and beaks. Until finally our teenager succeeded. He let the defeated one know what he thought of his attack and left this place. And then, while lurking the fish, he noticed a stegosaur nearby. Very tasty and juicy looking. And since the fish didn't help him much, he set out to investigate the herbivore. Fortunately for him, other Austroraptors had the same intentions. After all, it was a carnivore that hunted in packs, so unification was inevitable. But soon after came an attack with a tagomizer, the ultimate weapon of the stegosaurs, which is capable of taking out our individuals with a single blow. And unfortunately for our newly formed group, that's what just happened. The remaining members of the pack expressed their disagreement vocally. However, it was the newcomer who forced them to the action, quite possibly thanks to its intimidating coloration, which gave them courage. The Austros dug their claws into the stegosaurus and gnawed at it with their duck beaks. They couldn't really do anything else, unless they wanted to risk getting into the lobby, where subjects are being selected. And now that there were more of them on that walking armed stake, they had no choice but wait until it was exhausted or until more Austro reinforcements arrive. Except that one of Austros ended up exhausted. Hoping Stego will not notice him, that animal laid down completely undisguised in the middle of the glade. And of course Stego noticed him. And the question remains whether such a massive hemorrhage can even be survived. Because we will never know. For a different fate was in store for this subject. Some asteroid hit this world and destroyed our connection, only to discover after the repair that the subject was screwed. Let us hope then that this individual will be spared any natural disasters. For now, he is struggling with disasters of terrain and is fighting for his life with this rock. A moment of tension. Were it not for that tiny rock at the end, the subject would have emerged unscathed. So he headed off somewhere. Then his predatory duck senses were caught by something near the shore, and he decided to attack it with tremendous speed. Lunch itself was so confused by this incident that it waited for its attacker. In the end, however, this brutal cub decided to make a strategic retreat. But only so that it can carry out its brutalities somewhere else. And soon the first potential target arrived at that location. And now our subject was fighting one of the hardest battles ever. It was a fight between hunger and sympathies. Either he will join the dark side and eat that poor little cute bird, or he will stay good and spare it. And for once, altruism won in Austroraptor. Austroraptors are generally very interesting creatures, but at the same time they often have a very difficult time, especially when it comes to finding food. Like a pteranodon, it can only catch fish during the day and in waters without deinosuchosis. After a while, our subject sniffs blood and, full of hope of something to eat, follows the trail of the wounded animal. Adrenaline was rising and the excitement soon disappeared. After our subject saw that it was a relatively full-grown Omniraptor, our subject felt quite fragile in front of him, and then decided to withdraw from this chaotic situation to be on the safe side. Starving duck didn't know what to do. Finally, she sensed a new hope in the distance. A certain duck colleague was waiting there with a freshly caught pteranodon. And now it was a pure race against time. Will she make it to her colleague in time for a meal, or will she starve out? Another Austroraptor species was spotted inside something, so I was forced to use a legal hack to fix it. After that, his further actions in the swamp were more than peaceful, including fishing and swimming in the waters. So enjoy the beauty of the local nature while listening to this symphony. Our subject smelled a familiar odor in the distance and headed in that direction, and since it was a fellow Austro, our subject gave him a friendly jump scare and stole his fish. The friendship was successful and the anger was transferred to the fish population. After some time, the Austros decided to change territory, and when they looked back at the wetlands for the last time, they almost shed a tear. But they did well because their ranks soon expanded. And that can only mean a greater chance of catching something to eat. Especially in the fight in the water. At least, that's how it should be. The injured Ceratosaurus was in danger of soon running out of stamina and starting to sink underwater, which would be a great chance for the Austroraptors to feed their navels with it. But soon as it happened, our duck didn't have time to swim away and was eaten. Now we are watching a pair of Austroraptors trying to survive right from the start of their birth in a fight with another Ceratosaurus. And unfortunately, a technical glitch caused the destruction of one of them. And the remaining one from the couple was so upset that he wanted to continue scratching Ceratosaurus' back. And now let's focus on this flock of Austroraptors. And the last representative of the Austroraptor species, which seems to be special from the start. However, he soon changed his swaying stance to a predatory one. And finally, the Austros heard something. And although they heard it, they didn't see it, and the little Trudon seemed to have escaped. However, our subject noticed him and tried to catch up with him. In fact, he only noticed the green lights, so he was quite confused when he lost sight of them. Regardless, he could soon fix that. Once the Austros realized that it was a truly micro creature, and therefore their hunger could not be satisfied, they set out to prey on something else, while having to be careful not to be preyed on by someone else. Fighting with the Gallimimus at this time did not seem appropriate to our subject, as his colleague was already calling him for another attack. Nevertheless, these Austroraptors have really big stomachs and digest very quickly, so they have to be constantly on the lookout for something. Anyway, waiting and lurking bore no fruit. And after some while, our subject saw some kind of pteranodon in the distance. But sadly, the portion of it was no larger than a single serving, and our subject started to cluck with anger again. Here you see a different kind of dinosaur trying to look like a potato rock. And not only this suspicious situation made our subject uneasy, but also the fact that the flock was forced to fish in this place, potentially full of dinos. Some seems to be luckier than others. The Austros moved so far away to this little island, where they socialized with others of their kind. Everything seemed so idyllic and peaceful that after a while our subject forgot about the fear and did something he shouldn't have. We can say with certainty that luck was on the flock side. Who then resorted to calming down in this boulder. It didn't take long for the gang to set out to cause trouble again. At the very least, they planned to attack the Tenontosaurus. But their plan was thwarted by a huge Carnotaurus. The Austros watched him from a safe distance. They instinctively recognized that such an individual would be a devastating opponent, and now they were wondering whether to follow the Tenontosaurs to attack them later. Nonetheless, they decided to stay here for a bit longer. The place was busy, so there were plenty of chances. Either find some food or become it. Notice this kind individual here. He heard our subject's stomach growl so loudly and brought him a piece of something to stop it. And during the enjoying the food, the subject's eyes never left that Allosaurus over there. And at the moment the bleeding was stopped, subject ran towards it, together with others. And they were only able to do it thanks to the smallest one of them. After some time, our subject threw up, which greatly amused his colleagues. They scared this Allosaurus away with their absolutely terrifying gestures. So the air was clear and the flock could go drink. Our subject tried, relatively unsuccessfully, to climb onto a rock on which he could rest for a while. Until two ultimately foolishly chose this rock, thinking it was safe. Indeed, this is the end of the episode, and I thank you so much for watching. One more thing, since this channel was originally supposed to be only in Czech, but I really do enjoy making English versions also, I decided that, starting with the next story, I will upload the English versions of my stories to this new channel. Let me know which dinosaur you would like to see next.